Hello, lovely. I'm Whitney Kobrin, your host. Welcome back to another episode. I am super excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about dating with intention. So, if you have been feeling lost with dating, things not working out, or just scared to even jump into that contaminated dating pool, stay tuned because you're going to get some life changing advice. Welcome to the Love Coach in My Pocket podcast. I'm Whitney Kobrin, a dating and relationship expert and love coach, but I wasn't always an expert. Far from it. After battling years of heartbreak, I finally cracked the code to love. And now I'm here to share that hard-earned wisdom with you. You're in for a treat, getting the guidance you never learned growing up. Whether you're here for practical dating tips, expert relationship advice, or deep talks on healing, this podcast is your go-to resource for lasting love. Get ready to feel uplifted, inspired, and empowered in your love life. Hi. So if you have been in the dating pool lately, you know that it has gotten challenging. All the dating apps and modern technology and texting, it was supposed to make dating easier. And yet we find ourselves in this modern dating world where nothing seems to stick. And one of the things that I have found to help the most is to have a very clear intention going into dating. So I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of how I came up with this. When I was much younger, I found myself falling into relationships with the people that chose me. And I wasn't always that crazy about them or excited about them, but it just sort of happened that they would choose me. And I remember having this epiphany once that I wanted to be with someone that I chose. And I wanted to be with someone that I really liked and admired and looked up to and just didn't have any sense of feeling like I was settling. And I came up with a list of all the things that my ideal guy would have and how tall he was and what kind of job or career and all of these specifics. And then I found him. And it could have been such a celebratory, exciting thing. And it was in many ways. But looking back, my intention was not on how I wanted to feel and how I wanted to be treated and how I wanted this relationship to be. Instead, the intention was on the person, the man, the qualities in the guy that I wanted. And one of the reasons that this backfires, and it does backfire often for a lot of people, is that you can get really hung up on someone that's just not that into you, or just not available, or just doesn't know how to treat you, or maybe they're great 90% of the time, but then 10% of the time they could be a real jerk and not treat you well. So it's important to have an intention, but I'm going to really get into with you today what that intention should be about. All right, here we go. If you have no intention, it can be kind of like you're throwing spaghetti against the wall just to see if it sticks. Sometimes it will and sometimes it won't, and you might not know why or what's behind that. But having an intention is not just having a goal or a wish. The word intention comes from the Latin words meaning to stretch and toward. So having an intention actually means that you are stretching yourself toward that desire. And it's important to come from a place of faith and power, really believing that this is possible and knowing your high value and worth, so that you don't put up with or tolerate anything less than what you desire and what's in your intention. What I'm saying is having an intention will actually make you not only have that goal, but do the work, because any relationship is a co-creation, right? You actually don't just find love, even though that's the terminology most people use. You don't find it, you create it. And so having this clear intention will help you to stay focused. It will help you in the screening process, and the discerning process of weeding people out and who you want to continue with. And that's a really tricky thing to do nowadays, especially when you're online dating, because you don't have enough information. You only have a few pictures and maybe a few sentences, and you can't feel their energy. You can't smell their pheromones. You really don't know. And that's one of the biggest struggles that I hear from women is like, well, I get a couple of sentences and whatever, and it's hard to know. But I will tell you that the couples I know that are together that have met on online dating, if I asked those girls if they were excited about that person's profile, I think 9 times out of 10, they would say no, that it was just another guy, just seemed kind of average. Here's what the intention should really be about. So it's not just about finding this amazing person. Yes, we want to have someone that we have chemistry with and we're attracted to, and we have things in common and shared values. But if you're really looking for a relationship or to get married or to have kids, or maybe if you're older in life, I know a lot of people that don't necessarily want to get married again, but they just want a companion. They want a partner to grow old with. So the intention is not about the person, it's about the relationship. You want to ask yourself and journal about this, brainstorm about this. How do I want to feel in my future relationship? If you think about how you felt in past relationships, there's probably a lot of negative feelings that have come up in the past of feeling anxious or betrayed or sad. You never intended to be that way, but you probably got hung up on the person and put up with things too long or things that you wouldn't normally. Think about how you want to feel. I know that in my relationships, I want to feel loved, cared for. I want to feel equal, like we are both valuable and important, and that one person's not more important than the other. I want to feel supported. I want to have fun. I want to be happy. And I want a lighthearted playfulness in my relationship. And yours might be slightly different, of course. This is about what you want. But really think about what emotions do you want your partner and your relationship to bring up in you. Next, how do you want to spend your time together? And this could totally evolve from the dating stage to being exclusive, to being boyfriend and girlfriend, to being engaged, to being married. That can change what you do together, right? You're not going to meet each other's parents when you're just barely getting to know each other, but maybe you do want to spend time with your parents once the relationship evolves. You want to think about the relationship that you want down the road, months from now, years from now, and let that be your lighthouse, your beacon calling you. Think about if you want to spend time with friends and family, if you want to spend a lot of time at home, if you want to go out, if you want to travel, where do you want to travel? Think about the life that you want to have, the lifestyle that you want to have. You could think about how you want to spend the first few dates, because when you brainstorm about this and you think about this, it's more likely to happen. You're more likely to think of these things, to remember these things. And just remember that a lot in our love life is out of our control. So it's really important to figure out what you are in control over and to be able to exercise that control. So when you have this clear love intention, it will help you to control what you can and to have an influence on the direction that the relationship goes. So another question is, how do you want to communicate with your partner? Let's dig into this a little bit. When I do this exercise with my clients, a lot of them will start with what they don't want. Right? I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want my partner to yell at me. I don't want us to call each other names and mock each other. That's a good first step as you're brainstorming to think about what you don't want in the relationship. But when it comes to an intention, you want it to be stated in the affirmative. So you don't want to have anything that's negated or negative, like I don't want someone that yells at me. So let's flip that around. I want a partner that can communicate with me in a low volume, for example. I want someone that is going to be able to talk about things, right? If you don't want someone to brush things under the rug, then what you do want is to have open, honest communication. So you really want to think about that, right? How do we communicate with each other respectfully, with care, with consideration, right? And then think about whatever else comes to your mind, right? Leave out anything that's not important, but add in anything that is important. For example, if you are set on living in a certain city and there's no way in hell that you're going to move, then put that into your intention if that is a definite for you. If it's not, then you leave it out because maybe you could be open to moving to be closer to someone. So, this love intention is not what you spit out when friends ask you what you're looking for in a partner. It's more of an imaginative, creative statement that allows you to envision your future ideal relationship and have it be limitless. There's no limit. There's no, I can't or that won't work. We can really be inventive and creative with this. Rather than setting your eyes on a specific person or even type of person, instead, you want to set your eyes on the relationship that you want. And it's almost like creating a job description and then recruiting to hire someone for that job. When you create a job description, you don't want someone 6 feet tall with blue eyes, right? I mean, that's discrimination. But what we really want here is to think about the end goal. What is this relationship you want? What are the bare minimum that this person needs to have? And then you kind of try people out and see if they could fit into this. I've seen women that get very clear on their love intention. And then when their partner shows up, he's not exactly in the package that they expect, right? He might be shorter. He might be balder. He might be, something that you weren't expecting, a different race that maybe you've never dated before. And while it's important to have an intention and be focused and know what you want, it's also really important to be open-minded. A lot of people get stuck on a type. And let's face it, if it's never worked out in the past and you keep going back to the same type, maybe you need to try a different type. It depends where you're coming from. If you're somebody that has really been picky and really taken a lot of time to not date and to just be with yourself, maybe out of fear, maybe out of just it wasn't your focus, then you probably need to expand your horizons a lot and get more experience dating people, give people a chance, right? Just a coffee date, a walk in the park, something that's like 45 minutes to an hour is a great first date when you're just trying to get back out there and get experience and date people. So you never want to plan a first date that lasts more than an hour, right? Don't do dinner and a movie and all that on a first date because you don't know the person yet. And even if you think you know them from a profile or a phone conversation, being in person is different. So it's highly recommended to have sort of a casual, easy first date. Don't get, 3 hours at the nail salon and the hair salon and getting your makeup and going all out. Just show up cute, casual, so they can see the real you. And if things go well, then the next date can be something a little more fancy, a little more romantic. I find that coffee dates, it's hard to make them romantic. So it is a good way to just have an initial meeting and see if you like each other enough to go on a date. But I really like a dim lit wine bar for a first date, something that's not dinner, not too much, but also you can dress up a little bit or look kind of cute because you only have one opportunity to make a first impression. But I definitely have had clients that I've had to work with that just expect way too much from a first date. And when you go all out and spend hours and hours getting ready for this date and then it doesn't go well, it can be really disappointing. So you want to find that middle ground where you're excited and open, but also not putting too much pressure or expectation on it. So, speaking of the first date, how do you incorporate this love intention into a first date? Well, everyone will typically want to ask you, what are you looking for, right? They might even say, what are your intentions? And here's what I recommend. I recommend that you tell them exactly what you're looking for long term, but then also tell them how you're going about it in the short term. So, for example, somebody might say, well, I'm really looking for my person, my partner. I do want to get married. I want to have kids. That's what I'm really looking for. But you don't stop there and only say that, because it can give off the impression that you are trying to sink your teeth into that person. And they might interpret it like, I want to get married. Do you want to get married? Because that's my goal and I want to get married. And it's obviously way too soon to know if you would ever want to marry that particular person. So you tell them what you want long term, and then you say, but in the short term, for now, I'm just dating. And I'm taking my time to get to know people before I jump into a relationship. And that is so powerful for so many reasons. One, you've clearly set your intention, so they know that you're not just out there to have fun or play the field. You've also let them know that you are high value and that you know your own value and worth, and that you're not going to just jump for the first person that gives you a little attention. You're actually going to be discerning, and you're going to take your time to get to know people. And then you'll be able to see who follows through on their word, who shows up for you when you need them, who has consistent communication, who's been honest with you, who excites you the most, who you have the most fun with, who you could be yourself with. Those are the more important things than just, is he hot and does he give me butterflies, or whatever it is that we might be looking for in a slightly more immature way. When you brainstorm about your love intention and you answer all those questions that we talked about, how do you want to feel? How do you want to spend your time together? How do you want to communicate with your partner? And anything else that's important to you in this relationship, write it down. Summarize it into just 1 or 2 sentences and put it someplace that you'll see it every day. You could put it on your home screen of your phone, on your dresser, on your bathroom mirror, your underwear drawer. Remind yourself of this intention. And when we work with intentions, it's important that we align the feelings of it with the mental reading of it. So what that means is we don't want to look at it and feel bad. Like, oh God, I really want that, but I don't know if it's going to happen. This last guy was just so bad and I just don't know. Like, when you're looking at your intention, you want to imagine yourself in that place as if you already have it. So that means that you summon up feelings of being loved, feelings of being cherished, being supported, however you want to feel in that relationship. It makes such a difference because there's a lot of people that will talk about intentions and saying your affirmations in the morning, but it's like, why doesn't it work? But if you just say, I want to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire. If it's just a wish, it's just a wish, and it's probably not going to happen. If it's truly an intention, then you will be stretching yourself toward that. And you will be thinking about, how could I be a millionaire? What do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? What's the next step? Rather than just like hoping and dreaming and, hoping you win the lottery or that some lucky thing happens. That's not what having an intention is. The intention means that you're also doing the work, but also it's not just doing the work. It's also having that intention, that goal, that finish line, that thing that you're after, that helps you to have clarity. It helps you to break through limiting beliefs and self-doubt and fear when it comes up. And it just helps you to stay on that track. And whether it's career or your health or relationships or anything, you are responsible for it ultimately. If you don't believe that in relationships and you think that it's all about the other person, then you're probably giving your power away. because both people have power in relationships. And this has worked for me when I was widowed and after I started dating again. I did get really clear about the relationship I wanted, not just the person. I didn't date a lot of people, but I met a lot of people. And because I was working as a matchmaker, I was able to meet all the guys, lots of guys, and just kind of be very discerning and very picky and just kind of learn what's out there. And then because I was so clear on what I wanted, I was able to say no to 99% of people. And then when I came across my now partner for almost 6 years, I just kind of had this really, really strong intuitive feeling that this is it, that things are aligned, that this could be, the love intention. He was a little older than I expected. He didn't look quite like I expected, but the important things were there. And we do have a relationship that matches intention now, of how we spend time together, even though that has evolved and changed, right? From going out a lot to being home more and all of that. But I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you will create your love intention so that when you go out and date, that you're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks, but you are actually clear on the relationship you want and then testing out to see who could fit into that. All right. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love Coach in My Pocket, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, healing, and all sorts of topics related to these. Don't forget also to download the Love Coach in My Pocket app from the App Store for tons of free resources to support you on your journey.